Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel, English Grammar and Literature. Thank you for watching my videos and subscribing my channel. I also request you, please watch this video completely. If you like the content, please share with your friends and suggest to subscribe my channel for English Grammar and Literature. In this video, I am going to discuss with you different forms of stanza. We are going to look at various stanza forms. It is very important to know what is a stanza. A stanza is a set of lines in a poem. It expresses a particular idea, like a paragraph in the prose or in an essay. And the stanza has a particular set of lines. For each set of lines has a particular name, and those particular set of lines are called forms of stanza. If a poem written with the set of two lines, that structure of two lines is called couplet. So couplet means it consists two lines, right? So it is a pair of rhymed lines that are equal in length. Here is one example for us. The octosyllabic couplet has lines of 8 syllables, usually consisting of 4 iambic feet. This form and meter used by Andrew Marvell in his poem To His Quiet Mistress. For example, looking at this couplet, there is a very important and popular stanza form, which is called heroic couplet. It is framed with an iambic pentameter. It is a rhyming scheme, and the couplet consists of two lines with 10 syllables and rhymes together. It is also called decasyllabic couplet. Decasyllabic means 10 syllables. Why this couplet is called a heroic couplet? It is because of 10 syllable iambic verse. This couplet is 10 syllable iambic verse. And the other point, which is usually used for epic poem. It is a common form for epic poem in English. And the third characteristic, the theme of the poem is heroic exploits. It celebrates heroic exploits. The subject of the poem is heroic exploits. That's the reason it is called heroic. Who introduced this form of stanza into English? It was actually introduced by Chaucer, who derived it from older French verse, and he used it in his works, The Legend of Good Women and The Canterbury Tales. Who perfected this stanza form? It has been perfected by John Dryden and Alexander Pope in the Restoration age. And if you look at the structure of the couplet, is there is a pause at the end of the first line. It has only two lines, and after finishing the first line, where you should find a comma, and this comma signifies the partial completion of the sense of meaning. The couplet conveys a complete meaning, but when the first line is ended with a comma, where incomplete meaning is conveyed, and with the second line, then the complete meaning comes. I already told you a stanza which conveys a particular idea. So it has only two lines. So the first line gives only half of the meaning, and the second line will fulfills the full meaning. That's the reason Dryden says this stanza is the excellence and dignity of rhyme. So based on this heroic couplet, Marlowe used it in his work Hero and Leandro. So up to now we have studied about two lines set of stanza, that is called couplet, and the other very famous stanza form, heroic couplet. Now let us see if the poem has a set of three lines. It is called the tercet or triplet, because the stanza has three lines, usually with a single rhyme. The lines may be the same length or else of varying lengths. The lines of each tercet are successively in iambic dimeter, iambic trimeter, or tetrameter. This is the structure of the tercet. You can see it is. With this tercet structure, we have very popular stanza form. It is called tertia rhyme. It is composed of tercets which are interlinked in that each is joined to the one following by a common rhyme. That is, you can see here, ABA, BEB, EDG. So the poem has 9 lines. That 9 lines are divided into set of 3 lines. That's why it is called tertia rhyme. So you can see the structure of the poem. The first and third lines rhyme together, and the middle one rhymes with the first and third of the succeeding tercet. And it is an Italian measure. It is used first time Dante in the early 14th century. He used this form in his work Divine Comedy. And Sir Thomas Watt introduced this form early in the 16th century into English, and it is not a common meter in English. Though it is not common meter, there are some brilliant poets who used this tertia form in their poems. For example, Shelley used this stanza form brilliantly in Out to the West Wind, and you can also see this stanza form in the poems of Milton, Browning, and T.S. Eliot. Now we will see if the poem has set of 4 lines. What do we call that stanza? We call the quatrain. What are the characteristics of the quatrain? It is a 4-line stanza. It is the most common in English versification. employed with various meters and rhyme schemes. The heroic quatrain, for example, which is written in iambic pentameter, rhyming AB, AB, and it is the stanza of Grace poem Elegy written in a country such as. It is a very famous elegy poem. So now we have discussed couplet, tercet, and the quatrain. So 2 set of lines, 3 set of lines, and 4 set of lines. And now you can see here a stanza called Rhyme Royal. It is a poem composes with 7 lines and written in iambic pentameter. The rhyming scheme of this poem is AB, AB, B, C, C. Looking at this structure or rhyme scheme, you can see the first 4 lines rhymed together. See, AB, AB, this is a quatrain, and B, C, C, B, C, C, the last 3 lines, it is a tercet. So, Rhyme Royal, it is a stanza which is the combination of a quatrain and tercet. Overall, this poem consists 7 lines. It was first used by Chaucer in England, and the most of his works were written in this stanza form. Therefore, it can be called as the Chaucerian stanza. So, you can call this stanza form if a stanza consists 7 lines. The first set of 4 lines is quatrain, and the second set of lines is called tercet. So this quality, if you find a poem, that is a rhyme royal, or you can call the Chaucerian stanza. And even the another reason is also there. Why do we call this stanza form as Chaucerian stanza? It is, you can see, it was introduced by Chaucer in Troilus and Cresside, the later 1380s, and other narrative poems. It is believed to take its name, however, from its later user by the Scottish Chaucerians. The Scottish Chaucerians means who are the followers of Chaucer, who used the structures which were used by Chaucer in their poetry. That's why they were called as the Scottish Chaucerians. Among them, King James I of Scotland is one of the best poet as well as a king of that country, and he used this rhyme royal stanza in his poem The King is Quail, which is written about 1424. This form was quite widely used by Elizabethan poets, including by Shakespeare. He used this rhyme royal in his poem A Lover's Complaint and The Rape of Lucrece. If the poem consists 8 lines, what do we call the stanza? We call Ottavo rhyme. It is an Italian stanza form of 8 lines, and which was written in the meter or rhythm iambic pentameter. The scheme of rhyme is AB, 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 CC. So here you can see the poem of 8 lines were structured in couplet form, AB, 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 and the last two lines CC. So this way you can understand. It was introduced into England by Sir Thomas Watt in the 16th century. It is used for comedy and satire. Byron used it for satire in The Vision of Judgment and for mock heroic effect in Don Juan. Let us see very important stanza form in English. It is Spenserian stanza. And why do we call this stanza Spenserian stanza? It is a stanza of 9 lines. It was devised by Edmund Spenser for his work The Fairy Queen, which was written between 1590-96. And what kind of rhythmic scheme he used in this poem? You can see AB, AB, BC, BC, and the last one C. So here we have 9 lines. So you can see AB, AB, a quatrain, BC, BC, a quatrain, and C is the last line, which is separate. So the first 8 lines are written in iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter means a line of 5 iambic feet. And what do we call the last line or the 9th line? It is written in iambic hexameter. Hexameter means here a line of 6 iambic. So pentameter means 5 iambic feet and hexameter means 6 iambic feet. So that's the reason this 9th line is called an Alexandrian. Alexandrian, because Alexandrian who used this meter, iambic hexameter popularly, that's the reason we call it is Alexandrian. It relieves the monotony of the preceding quatrains and gives a sense of completion. I hope you understand this. The last line, which is going to relieve the monotony, means saying the same way of method, that is going to be broke down by this line. So preceding quatrains, that's why he said, and gives a sense of completion. So with this line, the poem comes with the sense of meaning, and the stanza is suitable to a lengthy narrative and descriptive poems. This is very important. And you can see there are very good poems and poets who used this stanza form in their works. For example, James Thomson, he used this Spenserian stanza in his poem The Castle of Indolence. John Keats in his poem The Eve of St. Agnes. P.B. Shelley, who used in Adonais, and the narrative section of Tennyson's poem The Lotus Eaters. We've discussed very well-known stanza forms. Now we'll see some more stanza forms which are used in not only in English, in other languages also. For example, the Rondeau is a stanza. It is traditionally French form of poetry. It is composed of a rhyming quintet, quatrain, and sestet. The Rondeau is characterized by the repeating lines of the rentrement or refrain and the 2 rhyme sounds throughout. How many rhyme sounds? 2 throughout the poem it is. So the structure of the poem you can see quintet, quatrain, and sestet. The form was originally a musical vehicle devoted to emotional subjects such as spiritual worship, courtship, romance, and the changing of seasons. So these are all the subject matters of the poem. And I told you here, repeating lines of the retriment or refrain. What is a refrain? A refrain is the line or lines that are repeated in music or in poetry. You can say the chorus. The main singer sings once and that will be repeated by other group of people. That is called chorus. So that is refrain. So the chorus of song is called a refrain. Poetic fixed forms that feature refrains include. So here we have some forms of stanzas. This refrain is very common in that particular forms. That is Villanelle, the Verille, and Sestina. Let us see what is Villanelle. It is a 19-line poetic form. How many lines? 19-line poetic form. It consisting of 5 tercets. 5 tercets means tercet. It is a set of 3 lines. So that way we have 5 followed by a quatrain. Quatrain means a set of 4 lines. So there are 3 refrains and 2 repeating rhymes. We have 2 refrains and 2 repeating rhymes. You can see the rhyme scheme of the poem. ABA, 1 tercet, ABA, 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 5 tercets, and the last one is a quatrain, AB, AA. This is, so totally we have 19 lines. The subject of the poem is the pastoral. For example, Dylan Thompson's poem, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. It is a poem. It is a perfect example of villanelle. And the another set of form you can see here. The Troilette is a short poem of 8 lines. How many lines? 8 lines. With only 2 rhymes used throughout. Troilette consists 8 lines and with only 2 rhymes. The scheme of rhyming is AB, AAA, BAB. The capital letters indicate repeated lines. They are going to repeated lines. So the same line is going to repeat it. I hope you understand different forms of stanzas have discussed. Thank you for watching my channel and videos. Please subscribe my channel and share with your friends.